Council of Dads, Episode 6. So, I literally just finished watching it a few minutes ago. And I want to get my thoughts. Not gonna lie. It was, and the reason why I'm probably saying it like that and my tone is because, well, it was definitely an emotional episode. So Charlotte, from last episode, fell down. I didn't know what the hell was going on. And she got rushed to the hospital, and it was kind of weird. I'm not gonna lie. Okay, so you have the dramatic music playing. She falls down. The mother is sitting there trying to do CPR or whatever, and does the whole chest compression thing. And then in the next scene, when she's in the hospital, she's talking to her friend and everything like that, and it just seemed like, I don't know. I'm not gonna lie. It made it look like, besides the fact that she looked really pale, she was kind of just like she was kind of just sitting down talking to her friend like she scraped her knee or something. So I'm not gonna lie. That kind of threw me off a little bit. Just how casual it went from her lying down, looking like she was literally gonna die, to the next scene where she is just sitting up there talking, chopping it up with a friend. So that kind of threw me off a little bit, but she was pale, so I was like, I don't know how to feel about that scene, but, so apparently, she had heart surgery when she was younger, and I guess she was scheduled for, a follow-up or whatever, and they went in the room and they talked to her, and the doctor was like, have you been feeling like dizzy and stuff like that like before? And she was like, yeah, a little bit, but I didn't want to worry you and stuff. And part of me wanted to be kind of upset, like, we could have avoided this whole thing. But then I was like, you know what, listen, she's like, what, 12 or 14? I'm gonna just kind of let that shit slide a little bit. So apparently she was feeling like that for a while, but she didn't want to say anything to, um, stress out her mother with everything that was going on with the dad, her dad passing and everything like that. And they pretty much just like, she's gonna have to do surgery, because there was another scene, the follow-up scene, she's sitting there talking to Tess, and they, I think Tess is sitting there trying to show her some pictures of some different boys or whatever, and Charlotte's like, oh yeah, whatever. And then she points to her friend, and she points to her phone, and she's laughing because I guess her friend sent her a text. And Tess gets upset. She's like, oh, whatever, I don't need to be here. And, like, kind of just, I don't want to sit there and say pick a fight, but she just kind of gets upset. And, she starts to walk off a little bit. And Charlotte goes into cardiac arrest. Tess is just, she's not freaking out, but she looks like she's like, oh, shit. And I generally feel bad for her. It's the worst thing you could sit there and do is, granted, have a fight with someone and then have them go to the hospital, because it's like, you just, whatever. So after the doctors came in there and helped her get stabilized, it was like, we need to do surgery. And, so they prep her from surgery and stuff like that. They talk about surgery, what they're going to be doing to her and stuff. And Charlotte's like, can I have my dad's ashes? And at first, the doctor puts up a fight talking about the sterilized room or whatever, and the mom's like, nah, we doing this. Alright? We doing this. It's gonna happen. So they're like, she's like, alright, fine, whatever. And, it's this whole scene where, Robin, wow, it says Sarah. Robin is like, we're gonna have to do something about these ashes, because she calls Larry to try to look for the ashes, and Larry can't find the ashes at first. And Robin's like, alright, we're gonna have to do something about these ashes, because they keep passing it around and stuff like that, and eventually it's gonna get lost. And so they're able to get the ashes or whatever, and they take it to the hospital, and she goes under. She goes under, and I tell her to count to 10 or whatever. She goes under, and she kind of wakes up, and she sees her dad, and I'm like, this is gonna get kind of emotional. And here's the thing. I'm at this point. I am. I was just like, I wish they did all the episodes like this. And I don't mean where it's like it's really sad or it's whatever, but just to be done well, because this show is supposed to tug on your heartstrings. It's supposed to make you, you know what I'm saying? Like it's supposed to be on those along the lines of like This Is Us and many little things. And a lot of times it's like they skip over emotional scenes. Like the first, I never forget the first episode where they skipped over the dad's death, and it was like, wow, really? That emotion that we want to sit there and feel for the dad and see his last hours and stuff like that, and see how it weighs on the family and stuff like that, and it was just gone. They just decided to skip it, and this episode didn't do that, and that's the one thing that I could sit there and say I appreciated about this episode. Is that they didn't do that. They didn't skip over stuff. They dealt with it. They dealt with it, and it was handled very, very well. I don't know, up to this point, I've been very critical about the show, and I don't pull punches. But again, this episode was done very well. Where the hell was I? So yeah, she wakes up and she's talking to her dad, and it's a scene where she's discussing about everybody else. JJ's doing good, and Theo is drinking, and this, that, and the third. And Scott is pretty much like, well, how are you doing? And Charlotte's a little shy or whatever. She says stuff here and there about, is she gonna have a scar and what's going on with her, but she is something that's holding her back, something that she wants to say to her dad. It's something that she wanted to say to Tess before she went into cardiac arrest. But she's shy, and she's like, listen, I can't do this, and she backs out, and she goes into her little corner, whatever. Apparently it teleported her into her room, and so the dad is outside, and the dad was like, listen, you've always been shy, and even since you were a little kid or whatever. And whatever he says, it gets her to open up the door, and she comes out, and she talks to her dad a little bit more about, because the dad's like, listen, you need to open up, you need to let the world know who you are, and it's hard for you to sit there and see that, because again, I guess we all are our harshest critics. And so there's a scene where apparently, I guess they get teleported. They get teleported to the house, and Charlotte is on the swing. Well, she's on the rope or whatever, and her dad was like, you're always scared of going on this swing or whatever, and she's like, yeah, I'm still scared now, and her dad was like, you're a lot older, you're a lot stronger, you're a lot more tougher than you think you are. You need to take a leap of faith and trust in the people. I mean, he didn't say that, but that's pretty much where he was going. He was like, you need to take a leap of faith, trust the people that love you to support you, no matter what it is. No matter what it is that you have to say to show the world who you are. And she takes that jump or whatever. Well, she swings on it or whatever, and I guess she lands in the water, and then that's the last things that her dad says. Just show the world who you are. And before I get to the end of it, or pretty much the end of the show, there is a scene with Theo and that girl that I can't remember her name, the dark-haired one, and Theo is upstairs because the mom is like, yo, where the hell is Theo at? I can't find Theo anywhere. Where the hell is he at? And Theo's up on the roof with the girl. And Theo, because he came in earlier to give her the ashes. And he goes upstairs and he's like, I hate hospitals and stuff like that. And the girl, I can't remember her name, but she's like, when her mother killed herself in this room where dolls were, it took years for her to even want to go back in there. And guitar teacher, wanted to do some lessons, and I guess he went in that room. It was like the sound here is great, and she just did it because she didn't want to sit there and tell the teacher why she was really afraid of going in that room. They did guitar, they did the guitar lessons or whatever, and she loved going in that room ever since. And she basically said that, a room in a place has as much power as you let it. And I was like, what, that was really good. Of course, I'm not gonna lie, it was actually kind of a really good moment, and they kind of screwed it up because, the girl was like, oh, I love you and stuff like that, and, you've been helping me out, and I just want to sit there and say I love you. And then Theo said I love you back, and then they kiss each other. And the reason why I felt that they ruined the scene that they had was because, I know that they're teenagers and stuff like that, but you really didn't get to kind of see their romance like bloom. They kind of hung out together because they all had something in common. And it just seemed like it was more of a friendship than something romantic. And honestly, to tell you the truth, I couldn't even tell which girl liked them tonight or anything like that. Was it the blonde hair chick? Was it the brunette? Who liked them? And then out of nowhere, she's like, I love you. See? Again, that little small thing of them trying to just rush through stuff. And what else? So Lily went to go see her adoptive parents. Her car breaks down. Evan is off somewhere, so she calls Anthony. Anthony picks her up and says, I'm gonna go meet my adopted parents. They go to meet them, and at first the dad is like, the adopted dad is really cool or whatever. He's telling stories about the other kids that he adopted, and that they had a hard time after he lost her. Both of them. It was specifically his wife, and she, Lily was like, where is she? And the adopted dad was like, she couldn't be here. She couldn't handle it emotionally. So they talk more and everything like that, and they start comparing notes. And it's weird because the dad actually has something, he has his phone there, and he's talking, but he's looking at the phone, and after a while, Lily's like, what is it? What's going on? What's happening? And so finally his dad is like, all right, listen, I can't do this anymore. Apparently the adopted mom was asking him questions about Lily. So she comes out the closet, and they're talking and everything like that, and the mother's like, listen, I can't forgive you, Anthony. And then they tell the story pretty much about how, this whole thing comes out. So apparently Anthony, when Scott was fighting for custody, Anthony was a character witness. And Anthony, they asked Anthony, has Scott been drinking? Has he been sober or whatever? And Scott was like, I lied under oath, Like, I lied and I said that he was sober. And he wasn't, And so he gets into this really, his heartfelt apology because he was like, listen, I'm not going to sit there and not, baff my guy. I'm not going to baff my boy. But I understand what I did, hurted you. So, he pretty much said he was sorry, and the mother was like, I forgive you. And Lovely was pissed. She was angry, she was confused, and when they left, let's put it this way, Anthony was in the car. Lolly gave them a hug, went downstairs, went into the car, and I was like, 5, 4, 3, 2. The minute they started driving, Lolly just went off on, Lolly pretty much went off on Anthony Smith saying, why'd you lie for? Is my whole life a lie? This, that, and the third. And, they kind of got into a little bit. Anyway, they got to the hospital, and Anthony was like, will you ever forgive me? And Lolly's like, listen, I will in time. Right now, we got to sit there and just kind of, rally up for Charlotte. Anyway, the doctor comes out, because everyone's waiting or whatever. The doctor comes out, and doctor stands there. Everyone looks. And I'm just like, alright, I know that Charlotte's alive, and I know that she's going to be fine, and I know that they're not going to sit there and take another character off. So why are we doing this dramatic, her standing there and not saying anything? Mom walks out, and they stand there for like a good 5 seconds. Maybe 3. 3 seconds, and the doctor's like, she did fine, she did great. And, everyone's hugging each other. And I'm not gonna lie, I there was a certain part that I did tear up. Okay, I kind of did a little more than tearing up. It's when, I'm trying not to tear up now. But, JJ walked up, I was trying not to actually really cry on camera, but JJ walked up JJ was sitting there running, and the mom was getting ready to brace, for hugging JJ, and JJ ran past his mom and walked up to the doctor and gave the doctor a hug and said thank you. And I'm not gonna lie, that's the part where even now I'm kind of tearing up a little bit, and I'm not even gonna edit this. So you're probably just gonna think like this. So yeah, that's the part where I teared up. For reasons that I'm not gonna really get into. But anyway, at the end, what the hell am I at now? So at the end, I'm not even gonna fucking sit there and redo this again. I'm just not, because I'm just gonna wind up tearing up again, so there's no point. So at the end, everyone, they decide to scatter Scott's ashes, in the lake or whatever, and everyone says, thank you, and miss you and stuff like that. And granted, that was a little sad. I honestly tell you too, the JJ thing got me more than anything. And I'm not gonna lie, honestly tell you the truth, to this point, I was like, I don't think the show's gonna like make me tear up and cry and stuff like that. And it did. So, yeah, anyway, everyone took like a shell or whatever and scatters ashes and stuff. And, that was pretty much the end of the episode. And it was actually a good episode. It was actually one of the best episodes that they actually had. Yeah, it was one of the best episodes that they had, because they took their time with scenes, like when Charlotte was Smith there talking to her dad, there was a lot of just her trying to come out of her shell, trying to figure out who she was, getting over her shyness and stuff like that, and those scenes were great. And even the scenes where Lolly met her adopted parents were actually good. So I gotta sit there and say, this was actually a really good episode. It's actually, no, fuck that. It was actually one of the best episodes that they had. And I say that because I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of wondering if next episode we're gonna sit there and just take a couple of steps back. I really do. I really wonder if it's gonna take us a couple episodes back. A couple of steps back. But yeah, this was actually a good episode. To be fair, it would have been a good episode even if I didn't actually start kind of crying. It would have been a good episode anyway because the pacing was good and they didn't sit there and rush through scenes. Like, they didn't rush through emotional scenes like, they've done in the past. And even when I was like, she was up and talking to her friend like she skinned her knee, I'm not gonna lie, her being that pale, it was a little kind of hard to watch. I'm not gonna lie, it was a little kind of difficult to watch because yeah, she was fine, she was putting on a pretty face, but yeah, it was just kind of difficult to watch. I mean, it was kind of difficult to look at a little bit. It was a little kind of sad. And that's what I kind of liked about it. They took their time with scenes, even the scenes with Lily and her adopted parents. It wasn't really a sad scene, but they took their time with stuff. And I honestly feel like if they do decide to do another season and they don't rush through stuff and they actually take their time through scenes and emotional scenes, they might actually have somewhat of a good show. Yeah, that's pretty much all I gotta sit there and say. Yeah, that's pretty much about it. So, have a good day or good night, depending on when you're watching this. Be safe, all that good stuff, and I will catch you in the next episode.